What if I told you that Spider-Noir is not just Spider-Man in a black and white Humphrey Bogart universe? And since this alternate Spidey is about to make his live-action debut, you might be wondering what's so different about him. So even though Spider-Man Noir is a version of Peter Parker, they don't have all that much in common. This Peter Parker is a part of the universe Earth 90214, and of course lives in New York City. However, our story is set during the Great Depression in 1933. Now, he's still under the care of his Uncle Ben and Aunt May, who in this universe happen to be social justice activists, which is the cause for this Spider-Man's darker origin story. Uncle Ben organized and led a strike against a sweatshop, but was brutally murdered in retaliation for doing so. The person who put the hit out on Uncle Ben was Norman Osborn, known as the Goblin, but it was actually the Vulture who murdered Uncle Ben. This would be the driving factor that ignites Peter's crusade that good should triumph over evil, and not much later is when the fateful spider bite would happen. So after being saved by Ben Urich, Peter ends up working as his protege at the Daily Bugle. While working, Peter ended up getting a tip that led him to a warehouse of the Goblins where they were unloading a shipment of stolen antiques. One of the antiques broke, which was a spider idol, which then released a bunch of spiders, one of which bit Peter, who then passed out and had a dream about a spider god. But when he woke up, he now possessed spider-like superpowers, and even though Spider-Man Noir has the classic Spider-Man powers of superhuman strength, speed, agility, and a danger-detecting spider sense, he has two highly unique traits that the typical Spider-Man just doesn't have. First is that his webbing is completely organic that shoots out of his wrist and just happens to be pitch black. Second, this spider bite altered his nervous system, giving him complete immunity to physical pain. Now, even though these powers are arguably some of the best within the Marvel Universe, this Peter has no issues using lethal force. This Spider-Man actually arms himself with revolvers, pistols, and a Tommy gun. This is all because instead of that standard Spider-Man motto of "with great power comes great responsibility," we more or less have a philosophy of if there's too much power, it's the responsibility of the people to take it back. So after creating a costume based on his Uncle Ben's World War I airman uniform, he became the vigilante Spider-Man Noir, and it didn't take him too long to get lethal. After finding Ben Urich dead in his apartment, Peter went after the Goblin and shut down his criminal operation. However, the Daily Bugle painted Spider-Man in a bad light, so Peter went to go chat with J. Jonah Jameson, but found out he was imprisoned by the Goblin, and when he finally found him, the Vulture was attempting to murder Peter's Aunt May. So in order to save Aunt May, Peter murdered the Vulture. However, Aunt May thought it wasn't the best decision Peter has ever made because he could have used his powers to stop him and felt that killing people would make him less human. But one of the most notable stories regarding Noir is during Spider-Geddon. Peter attempted to stop the villain Morlun, and if you don't know Morlun, he's basically a vampire. So in order to stop Morlun, Peter triggered a grenade on his belt, which sacrificed himself, and unfortunately Morlun survived and consumed the rest of Peter's essence. However, while dead, Peter is once again visited by the same spider god he saw when he was first bit and was told that his job serving the Great Web is not yet complete and was then resurrected. So how does all of this relate to what we're going to see in the live-action Spider-Noir series? Well, I do think a lot of it will hold true, but we do know some differences. The Spider-Man Noir in the live-action show will not be going by the name of Peter Parker, as the creators felt this universe was too grim and dark for the likes of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So instead, this Spider-Man will be named Ben Reilly, which in the comics is a genetic clone of Peter Parker. We also know this Spider-Man is going to be an older version who was brought out of retirement and back into the Spider-Noir persona once again. And we will be seeing some of our typical Spider-Man rogues in this show, including Silvermane, Sandman, Tombstone, and Megawatt. And if you want to learn more about those villains, make sure you check out this video right here.